Good morning and welcome back to the morning commutes. I hope you all had a great weekend. I was anxious to get on the road so I can test out the transmission. I topped it off again yesterday afternoon, well, mid-morning, and then I also cleaned the max airflow sensor. It was like the size of a small hard drive, but I cleaned that off, and it wasn't real dirty or anything, but I was just wanting to ensure that I was at least checking that. And it feels pretty good right now. It's a Trans Tempest 102, and I was just listening earlier that there was a pretty bad accident over there on the 10 by the stack. I think it's closed. I think there's an investigation or something going on there. Yeah, it feels good right now. Yesterday, the missus and I went to go wash her car, and then we were trying to decide what to eat. So we Googled this place up in Tempe. It's like maybe rural and just south of the 60. It's near a bowling alley. I don't recall the name, but man, it was an all-you-can-eat buffet. It up. I think my favorites were the chickpea dish, the chicken curry, and the tikka masala. And by the time we were done, we were so stuffed. And then I just went home and then didn't do a whole lot. Just kind of chilled all afternoon and evening. But I did not get any ingredients for our regular breakfast. So I just brought some of those Jimmy Dean sausage biscuit things. But on the way home, I'll grab some frozen shredded potatoes, some fresh tortillas, and some Spam. I was supposed to use some ham because we had a lot of leftovers, but we just bagged them up last night and then put them in the fridge. But this morning I put my alarm back a little bit, and so I slept in a little. Yeah, that's good. I'm thinking this freeway is going to get really busy today as people get rerouted down this way. But right now it's looking pretty good. I thought about stopping by up here and grabbing one of those jalapeno cheddar and egg croissants. Better not, because I have coffee and breakfast. We're supposed to be saving. We're trying not to eat breakfast and lunch outside, and then just maybe go to dinner on Friday. That was the plan, but I don't know if that's going to work today. I thought about getting up early and putting in the roast, because we have a pork roast that I need to get cooked up. So I'm going to ask the boys. Let's see. I think they should be home today, at least for a while this morning. So
late March, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services announced it would not release about $12 billion in funds earmarked for state health departments, including Arizona. Arizona Attorney General Chris Mays joined a lawsuit to prevent that in April and now says they've secured a win.
A federal judge has blocked the Trump administration's unlawful attempt to cut nearly $12 billion in public health funding in a lawsuit that we filed in April.
KTAR previously reported Arizona would lose nearly $200 million if the cuts went through.
APS has initiated the process that could increase your bills and would go into effect by July of next year.
That's through a notice of intent filed with the Arizona Corporation Commission last week, where in a letter, APS spells out several factors leading to why it needs to charge more for power. Diane Brown of consumer advocacy group Arizona Purge says there are reasons prices may need to go up.
Thus far, they have pointed to supply chain shortages, which is legitimate. Whether or not tariffs have an impact is yet to be seen.
While she agrees a rate hike may be needed, Brown urges the company to limit price increases to only what is necessary for operation and keep costs low for consumers. The last APS rate hike went into effect March 2024. Ballin Overstoles, KTAR News.
KTAR Focus on Immigration.
Congressional staffer gives his take on the latest border security and immigration reform proposal in Congress.
Political attorney Roy Herrera tells the Mike Broomhead Show Arizona U.S. Senator Ruben Gallegos' plan looks to expand green cards, visas, and work permits in order to strengthen the American workforce.
In addition to the fact that we get people here through changing the way we do our visa system that want to work and will again provide that economic benefit.
He explains the proposal recognizes immigration can lead to economic prosperity. Heidi Hommel, KTAR News.
Child care in Arizona can cost as much as a mortgage, and Maricopa County is trying to help employees save some money in that area and find some peace of mind with an all-new child care center. Our own Colton Krolak is live with that story.
Yeah, that's right, Jim. The county has opened an on-site kids club in downtown Phoenix right next to its administration building, and county employees get a 50% discount. Maricopa County Board of Supervisors Chairman Thomas Galvin calls it an investment, one he says will pay off through better recruitment, retention, and public service.
We're telling our current employees that we treasure them and we honor them. We're also telling people that if you're thinking about working for Maricopa County, I want you to apply for a job here today, because if you have a child, you can leave them at this daycare center. You do not have to worry about them. They're going to have a great education here, get great care, and we're right across the street.
Child care in Arizona can cost families nearly $16,000 a year, according to the Economic Policy Institute. The new center is open daily with extended hours and could soon operate 24/7 to support parents who work overnight. Live in the news center, Colton Krolak, KTAR News.
Coming up, even though it grew over the weekend and still is officially at 0% containment, is the Greer fire on its last legs? Wildfire expert Jim Cross joins us next.
KTAR traffic alert.
All right, there's trouble getting into downtown from the west side, and here is John Roller in the Valley Chevy Dealers Traffic Center.
Yeah, thank you very much, Jim. Not the way you want to start your work week, so let's give folks a heads up. We've got a full closure this morning. Eastbound I-10 right at the stack. This is right at 27th Avenue, and if you are stuck in this slow and go crawling traffic, you are being taken off at 27th Avenue. If you are just starting to roll down the highway, start to think about some alternates. You can use maybe 19th Avenue to get on the eastbound I-10. That's a way to get around this. If you're farther west, you may want to think about Van Buren, Thomas, McDowell, Grand Avenue. Of course, we have our morning slowing right there at the confluence, 35th Avenue and Indian School Road. So keep that in mind. Build in some extra minutes this morning. No estimated time of reopening. A full closure this morning. Eastbound I-10 right at 27th Avenue. Traffic is brought to you by Rhino Shield. Rhino Shield's unique 3M ceramic technology. It reflects UV rays away from your home and is backed by a 25-year warranty. If you'd like a free estimate, visit rhinoshieldaz.com. John Roller, KTAR News.
We're looking for sunny skies. We'll have 95 today, up to 98 tomorrow, and then 103 Wednesday, 106 on Thursday. Weather is brought to you by Howard Air and Plumbing. Whether replace or repair, call Howard Air and Plumbing.
I'm with Tim from Moving Team 6. We're talking about their mission and what they mean in the community. You do a lot in hiring vets as well, for veterans looking for work, into the training portal for
people who do this, revenge porn, deep fakes, and also makes internet providers take stuff down. What is wrong with that approach to this?
So it's a good approach, where it could be at least. The problem with it is two things. One is that as the bill is currently drafted right now, there's an interpretation that it has a problem with people's privacy rights in terms of using private messaging services and other kinds of things that are encrypted, because as a result of the obligations that the bill creates, people may have a monitoring obligation to go break through that encryption in order to look at that content.
Are you saying that this may apply to someone's private messages and not just to what they post on X or whatever?
Absolutely. So that's one of the big potential problems with the bill. The second big problem is that the notice and takedown system that it creates, which is something that we could be very for, doesn't have any of the guardrails that we know would be really important in order to protect free speech. So the problem there is that we know that other notice and takedown systems, like the Digital Millennium Copyright Act, they've been abused in the past to take down content inappropriately. Platforms, because they have to take things down in 48 hours under the Take It Down Act, they're going to have to be very aggressive about how they respond to any takedown notices, and that incentivizes them to take more things down, to not scrutinize things, and that as a result creates an over-censorship problem. And we know that this exists, and there are safeguards and guardrails that could be put on this piece of legislation, which civil society groups have been talking about, but none of that made it into the final bill.
I feel that you're making some of the same objections that conservatives were making a few years ago when there were fact-checking mechanisms on social media and so forth. They said basically these corporations are preemptively taking down my speech, which should be perfectly fine or should be allowed. Do you feel you're making a very similar argument?
It's similar in some ways, in that what we're always worried about when we're talking about content moderation online is about striking the balance between making sure that people have the opportunity to be heard, and in some sense, the problem of non-consensual intimate imagery is that it drives people out of spaces, right?
Sure. So you don't want revenge porn. We should be clear on that.
Absolutely. We need to do something to address this problem. The other problem, though, is that people like President Trump have said that they would love to use this bill in order to take down content that applies to them, even though it's very clearly not something that is revenge porn or deep fake pornography. It's what they want to use the bill for, and the lack of safeguards that would allow them to do that. That's the problem.
So someone could broaden the definition of what should be taken down and abuse this, is what you're saying.
They don't even need to broaden the definition. It's just that you do a takedown notice, and the platforms will take it down.
Okay. Nick Garcia, Senior General Counsel at Public Knowledge. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
This is NPR News.
And this is Morning Edition on 91.5 and KJZZ.org. On a Monday morning,
Is reporting a 9-cent jump in the past week, fueled by holiday travel demand and a California refinery fire. Maricopa County's gas averaging $3.63 a gallon, the state's priciest, while Yuma, that county's average is at $2.96, the cheapest. The state's $3.38 average tops the national figure by 19 cents.
All right, checking the latest numbers in the pre-market trading. We're looking at the Dow futures down 260 points, S&P down 66, NASDAQ down 339, so about 1% on everything except the Dow. For more money news, visit the Business Center at KTAR.com.
All right, folks, you guys have a great day. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. We do notice that a lot of our viewers are not subscribers. And if you can, please subscribe and give us some comments and some likes so we can get our videos out a little bit further. And you guys have a wonderful day. Don't forget to hug and visit and talk to your loved ones. Tell them how much you appreciate them.